Howdy, my darlings. Welcome to our Vampire the Masquerade V5 Saturday night one-shot set in the Wild West. I wanted to explore with you all the concept of how the story you want to tell with Vampire the Masquerade can change depending upon what sect you choose. Tonight's game is entitled The Legend of the Scarlet Coffin, Part 1. So let's welcome our vampires.
Hi, I'm Mike, and I'm playing Ashton Pendergast from Clan Toreador.
My name is Andrew, and I'm playing Silas Miller from Clan Ventrue.
My name is Josh Simons, and I'm playing Buster Brandt, Gangrel.
Zachary Vaudo, playing Rudin, Clan Lasombra.
And I'm your storyteller, Ellie Collins. I want to start off first by thanking the gentlemen at Gehenna Gaming for allowing me to run this absolutely insane idea. And thank you for the wonderful guests being a part of it. So now, the Scarlet Coffin was a coffin containing what was rumored to be a Methuselah. The facts of what happened have been lost to time, elaborated into legend, and even more highly argued about. What we do know is that a coffin existed, and while it was on its way to be delivered to the Camarilla runtown, it was intercepted by a group of Anarchs. The how, what, and why is heavily disputed by both groups. Here's how the Anarchs say it happened. The night you guys wake up in your cave encampment is chilly. The wind from the desert cutting through the stone cavern where you've made your haven to protect you from the sun. Firstly, I need you all to roll a rouse check for me. That will be one of your hunger die. Rudin pass. Silas pass.
That's a fail.
Oh, okay. And so Ashton, you are starting tonight at 2 hunger. Everyone else is still at a 1. So now, Ashton, you have received a while back a tip from a bartender in San Antonio who happened to be a Toreador himself and fancied fine-styled drinks over art pieces. He told you about a rumor of a body of Methuselah in a red coffin being transported on the 815 from Georgetown, with a stop being made to the tiny mining town of Lone Elm. He suggested a variety of options, from unhooking the train car, managing to drag it out onto a cart, to just setting the whole thing on fire and being done with it. But one thing was for sure, do not let that coffin get to Lone Elm. Lone Elm is a Camarilla town, hidden under the guise of a nighttime town on account of the mines. The mayor, the sheriff, and the lawkeepers are all kindred, and if the train gets to them first, Lord knows what they'll do with it. So as you guys have awoken tonight around San Marcos, halfway to Lone Elm, train should be passing by later on tonight. What would you all like to do?
Ashton, are you sure about this information you got? I know I've asked you time and time again, but something about it just doesn't strike me as trustworthy.
Ashton, how do you feel about him questioning this information you've gotten?
Listen, Rudin, I trust my source to the ends of the earth, and trust me, I've been there and back again. It's too good of an opportunity for us to pass up. I mean, we're living in a goddamn cave of all places. You know what we could do with the casket, with a real Methuselah inside of it? Looking at the big leagues, my friend.
I agree with Silas here, but not for the same reasons. I am trepidatious about opening or taking a Methuselah for us, for anybody. These are the sort of things that are meant to be left buried.
Well, we can easily sell it to somebody who's willing to put it back in the dirt if that will make you feel better, my friend.
I'm flexible.
I just want to know that we have a plan. This is a short run going from Georgetown to Lone Elm, and you got a tight window here, and I don't know, something rubs me the wrong way.
That's true. We will have to act fast about this, and I consider myself a bit of a fast person, but... Well, what do you think, Buster? You've been awfully quiet tonight.
Well, I'm certain we'll let's put it this way. I don't know anyone better at getting in and out than the four of us. Now, granted, I don't know that many people, but I still think we're quite proficient at what we do.
Always the optimist.
I tend to agree. Now, I have a couple of ideas, but I'd like to hear what you think about what we can do to get this little casket off the train first.
There are a few ways you can go about it. You can do the old grab and go and try and come in from the top, dump it off the side, and have a catch man there to receive. But seeing as how we only got 4 of us and I don't see a wagon around, I'm not too sure that's the best idea. I'm wondering if trying to detach the car. You do know which car it's in, right?
Do I know what car?
You do not.
You know, we're going to have to do a bit of a search. I mean, my contacts are good, don't get me wrong, but...
You said you met this guy in a bar?
Well, yes, he's a member of my fellow clan. He's a good contact. He's given me quite reliable information in the past. Stuff that's kept me from being a pile of ash time and time again, thank you.
Usually
Reliable but vague. That checks out.
Usually what's kept me from being a pile of ash is not getting into situations that make me a pile of ash.
My friend, those situations will find you eventually, whether you want them or not.
That's what I stop them before they happen.
I imagine I could just double check with my sources. I have a little bit of in with some of the underworld in these parts. Perhaps I could just ask around, see if anyone knows anything about the arrival.
Likewise.
Now, when the time actually comes, I figured I would probably be in the air, unless you'd rather have me on the ground.
If you wish to cover more territory, then by all means. Do you think you can fly faster than a locomotive, though?
I've never tried. Perhaps tonight's the first.
Of course, we could always try and stop the locomotive.
You could. Might be easier said than done. Though I could always see about getting to the engine itself.
We could try that.
And Silas, if you wish, I can also just buy us a wagon. Of course, having somebody to drive it is a different story, but I can buy one.
You each do have 4 horses outside of the cave, specially tuned to you. Typically, animals spurn being near kindred, but with enough time with these horses, you all seem to form a special bond with your individual horses.
I appreciate that. Affording a wagon isn't the problem. It's a trusty man to drive it that always concerns me. But, perhaps Ashton has another dearly trusted contact from his blessed clan that he could reach out to. My concern is anything that raises noise. I don't have to tell y'all that the Camarilla is not going to be sending something as important and valuable as this unguarded, unattended, or without a plan for interception.
Oh, no.
We should assume shit's going to go sideways.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the Camarilla would never leave the body of Methuselah unguarded. Idea. Well, I have 2 ideas. One is, we are near a mining town, yes? Or, well, we can always procure certain supplies, such as dynamite. We can blow the rails, stop the train. That'll buy us some time from it getting to the city. And then... Buster, you said you have friends in the underworld. Well, what if we tell them that there's quite a lot of, salvageable cargo that could go missing on this train? They try and rob the train, and while the Camarilla is busy dealing with your mortal friends, we slip in, take the casket, and ride off into the moonrise.
I actually kind of like that idea.
Well, it's not my first rodeo, my friends.
Thank God for second rodeos.
I'm not opposed to the idea, but of course, the moment the train gets stopped, they will know that we are there.
Well,
that
that's the
somebody-
value of a distraction, though. I
Mhm.
mean, regardless, they're gonna know something's up. But if you have someone, dancing on the side, that's where the eyes are gonna be drawn while we slip in the back.
Perhaps one of you more persuasive types can convince them to run about and give them the old run around, yeah?
And Buster, you all are near San Marcos, and you do have some criminal contacts here in San Marcos.
And just refresh my memory. The train is passing through San Marcos on the
Yes.
way.
The train will pass through San Marcos on the way to Lone Elm. So San Marcos is about the halfway point.
Do
And-
we have any intel as to whether or not we should be stopping the train before or after San Marcos?
The only intel you have is that it can't get to Lone Elm. As once it gets to Lone Elm, it will be completely in the possession of the Camarilla.
But it's going to stop in San Marcos
Unsure.
or pass through.
Pass through. You're unsure if it will definitely make a stop.
Perhaps more of a hold-up.
Between San Marcos and Lone Elm, or in San Marcos? Because my worry is if the mortal law gets involved, that can be a lot messier.
Well, that's very true, but I think the Camarilla is more concerned about keeping up appearances than we are.
True,
Now-
but I don't want to get run out of another town.
It's not so bad.
I hate to try and play two games at once, but I do have a bit of a vested interest in the railways and shipping going as it should, and quite frankly, if one of these lines gets held up any sort of way, that could put into trouble some deals that I've been working on. So I'd prefer we do this quietly. It's the best way, clearly, but I think it's best for all concerned.
You have
Keep it
connections
quiet.
with the railway here.
I do, in fact, and Storyteller. Would I have any specific knowledge? Because my background is actually in railway and transportation. Do I have any background about the specific, perhaps, kind of train, as far as like how many cars we could expect for it to have? I also have 3 tips and contacts for what that's worth.
Okay, given that this is more of a cargo-based train, you're looking at approximately 10 cars with a staff housing in the caboose. And it's usually a 1-engine train with a coal car, and then 8 other cars and the staff caboose.
If you have connections with the train, why don't we get somebody that you know to redirect the track? Have it go not to Lone Elm.
Well, that's the tricky thing about this particular train. While we, as you know, we have several different operators going on here in Texas this year time, but this one in particular has been a bit of a holdout from trying to join the team, as you might say. So unfortunately, I think any outreach I make to that particular avenue would only turn up dust. But that being said, we can't expect. I would expect more cargo, less people. We're talking cattle. We're talking telephone poles, railway supplies, that sort of thing. I would imagine anyone else on that train is either there's a hired hand to escort for moving purposes or protection purposes. So, we're not going to be dealing with stuff up your alley, Ashton. We're not going to be seeing any fancy drink cars or gramophones going on.
Darn. Well, there goes my afternoon. But still, you can laugh. It's a joke. Anyways, Silas, you do bring up a good point, though. You have a good vested interest in this railway. Perhaps, do you have any friends in town that could perhaps stop the train in San Marcos, and one of us could get on, locate the body or the coffin, and when identifying the car it's on, we could possibly remove the car from the rest of the train, hop on, take the body, and head off?
I like where your head's at. Fabricate some sort of mechanical issue. Perhaps maybe they need to swap the engine, and while they do that and shunt it to another rail, we hop aboard there. That's not a terrible idea. Do I have any contacts in San Marcos that might allow that to happen?
You do. You would have contacts
you know that San Marcos does have a rail station in it, so you would need to go speak with someone in the rail station.
I'd have to head into town and see if anyone's up, but I know a few folk from back in the day still kicking around might be able to orchestrate that for us.
Allow me to complicate the plan in our favor
Always do.
slightly. The train stops due to mechanical errors. There's an attack by criminals, which is successfully fought off. Looks good for the railways. Additional confusion, which gives us an opportunity to get in and get out.
We were talking about having this plan, yes, so this way we have it a bit closer to home instead of on the road or on the rail.
And there's always flexibility. Say something doesn't pull off quite as we want in San Marcos, we're still on the train. We can still make something happen down the track. Options are good.
And if we need to hide out, there's always other caves we can stay in. I should note that after we pull this off, I would like to stay somewhere with a bed, perhaps.
I think there's a brothel or two in San Marcos that has your name written all over it. Don't you worry.
Perfect. I am slightly hungry.
We should be heading into town then, yeah? We've got people to see and things to plan.
All right. And so are you all heading out to your horses to take them into town?
I think so.
All right. And so you guys ride up to the town of San Marcos. San Marcos has enough people at this point in history that there's still enough going on at night. The saloons got loud piano music coming from it, laughing, merrymaking, raucous. Pub songs just started. And there is a light on in the train station house and a light in the sheriff's as well.
Well, if I know anything about my fellow, he'll be in there, and I gesture towards the saloon. Any of y'all care to join me, or you want me to run this one solo?
I can come along if you'd like.
You do what you want, and I just kind of turn and head towards the saloon.
I'll join in a minute.
I could swing by the sheriff's office, make him a little bit more friendly to us.
All right, and so we'll start with the sheriff's office. And so, Ashton, you go over to the sheriff's office, and can you give me a quick wits and awareness roll?
All right. Yeah, I got 2 wits, and that is 3 successes.
Fantastic. So, as you're walking up, you kind of catch a glimpse in between the curtains of the sheriff's window. And you can see he's probably about 2/3 of the way through a bottle of rye whiskey.
Perfect. I will head in and say hello to our dear sheriff.
Okay, and you see he kind of stumbles and puts the bottle away and goes, "Well, how you doing, young man? What can I do for you?"
At this point, I'll just kind of slip into a southern drawl. Well, hey there, sheriff. You can break out that bottle. It is good to see you.
Have we met? You got a familiar face, but I'm not entirely sure. And he does pull the bottle out and sets it and rifles through his desk for a second glass.
Nah, just rolling through town. I like to go through, say hello to the local lawmen. My uncle, God rest his soul, was a lawman himself in Mississippi. I make it a special treat to go through and say hello to, well, any lawman that I run into. Well, how is everything in town this afternoon?
It's going well, and God bless your uncle for his service. Going all right. Good sleepy night.
Good. Yep. For some reason, I feel wide awake. I might take a stroll around town, but I am wondering, have you noticed anything unusual in town? Any people that might be causing mischief around that I might have to concern myself with? I don't want to get stood up, dressed as I am.
Well, you always gotta worry about something like that being as dandy as yourself now, and everybody knows no good decision happens past 1 a.m. So just keep your mind about you, keep your hands on your pockets, and you should be pretty good.
Well, all right then, Sheriff. Thank you very much for the information. And
You're welcome, young
Also-
man. You take that cup with you.
well, thank you, sir. And by the way, did you notice that outside the window over there?
What is it?
And
He's
when
gonna look.
and I'm gonna feed on the sheriff
All right.
if I can.
He is pretty schnackered, so that's gonna be a automatic ability for you. How much are you gonna take from him? One or the whole thing?
Oh, just the one. But
Okay.
I'd like to use my presence for lingering kiss to make him a little bit addicted to me. So to speak.
Okay. Okay. So you finish up and he leans back and goes, "Whoo, I maybe should have gotten something a little weaker from San Antonio. You feel free to come around now anytime. All right?"
Yeah. Before he turns around, I kind of spill a little bit into his glass. Go, yes, Sheriff. I'm feeling it myself. Anyway, you take care there, sir. I'm gonna go lay down for a bit. You take care, Sheriff.
Yeah, you head on over to the saloon. Tell Maxine I sent you.
I absolutely will, Sheriff. You take care now.
All right, and we will cut to the guys who have gone to the saloon. So Silas, as you've walked up, the music's getting louder and louder and louder. A guy falls, stumble drunk through the saloon doors, kind of stumbles past you, just laughing. And as those doors fling open from him falling through, the three of y'all see that the saloon is packed tonight, but everybody's having a great time.
Do I need to roll anything so I don't look completely undead walking in here? Is that a thing?
You would want to do Blush of Life?
That's the thing.
Yes. And that'll be a rouse check.
Sure. Oh gosh. All right. That's an 8. So good to go.
Yep. You are good, and your skin turns pink, flush with luminous glow.
I'll do the same. And yeah, good.
Okay.
I'm actually going to swing around the alley out back before coming in, but I'll join them in a second.
Okay.
Just
All right,
let me
Silas.
finish.
And Silas, you are looking for your contact?
I am. My eyes kind of immediately head over to the bar where I assume he is to be found, but I kind of let them play over the scene to see if anything catches my eye.
Yeah, give me wits and awareness.
Do 3 successes.
All right. So with 3, you can easily see, it takes a little bit looking through the crowds and people kind of have to move around. But over near the bar, sitting in a big armchair, is your contact. His name is Grayson. And he currently has one woman in a feathered blue dress on one leg and one woman in a purple feathered dress on the other leg.
I just walk up behind him. I don't know if he sees me, but I just kind of walk up and tap him on the shoulder.
He goes, "Oh, Mr. Miller! How you doing, son?"
Seems not quite as joyous as you at the moment. Can we move them
Yeah,
along?
absolutely. Ladies, I'll catch you later. Don't tell Caroline you saw me with them. Anyway. And the women get up and kind of giggle and scurry off upstairs. He goes, "All right, sorry about that. Didn't want you to see me untoward in that nature. To what do I owe the pleasure?"
Well, I don't know about pleasure, and I look over. Is there a chair available next to him, or is it busy? All right. I sit down and I motion over. This is my associate. We have a little business here tonight, as you know. Always business when I'm in town. But I was wondering what you might be able to tell me about this shipment that's coming through San Marcos heading to Lone Elm.
Oh, that cargo train.
Very one.
Yeah, it's got a bunch of coal. It's got some mining equipment. There's some real real good dynamite on there. New kind that they come up with, supposed to take out a whole damn mountain. Think John's working that one. Yeah, it's a small one. They're trying to get better trade established out this way.
Of course. Those typically make a stop over in town, don't they? Or do they typically go right through?
It depends. I think that one's just got a contract with Lone Elm. Why, you needing something, or you need something taken to Lone Elm?
Well, I think it would be in the best interest of all involved if that train were to take a slight pause in town. Perhaps let the driver stretch his legs a little bit. Grab a smoke, I'm sure it's been a long run for him. You think you can make that happen for me?
Well, yeah, there's something you need, son. I can make sure it happens.
Don't call me son.
All right.
And I kind of pull out just a small pouch, and I pull out I don't actually know what we use for money at this time, so I'm going to say some paper of the local government, and I'm just going to set it on the counter, and you take care of whatever needs taken care of. You talk to John or whoever you need to talk to. You let me know in about an hour if you can get that driver the rest he deserves. You hear?
Sounds good to me. Grown men gotta keep their secrets. And he takes the money and he gets up, and you see him kind of adjusting his pants, fixing his suspenders, and he's gesturing towards the ladies. I'll be right back. And he heads out and down towards the train house.
Well, I don't know, and I'm turning to Rudin, but I don't know if he's as reliable as one of Ashton's famed contacts, but he's usually good for getting the job done, so give him about an hour, see what happens.
All we need is for him to have the train stop here, yeah? Then we do the rest.
We need.
Is there anything we are in need of I can perhaps purchase for the job at hand, or should I go make myself useful somewhere else?
Well, what do your instincts tell you? What do you think we're missing here? You're always good for an eye for where the plan can go wrong. What do you feel like we're not noticing on this one?
I'm thinking. Well, I know that we are talking about stealth and safe and being quiet, but if your instincts are right, then yeah, they're going to have somebody on this train, and it's for the cargo. It's not going to be just some random fuckhead that they send along. It's going to be big guns, so perhaps big guns might behoove us.
I do like where your head is at. I think big guns behoove us indeed. You got an idea of where we might be able to find a couple of those?
I may know a guy or two around here. I have to go check my usual hangouts. They're a little less upstanding than this.
Takes all types.
You want to dirt your shoes, or shall I meet you later?
Well, I think it's probably in our best interest if I hang tight, keep an eye out for my man to come back and let me know what he discovers. So you'll find me here when you need me. If you see Buster outside, maybe send him inside for a moment.
Can do. And Storyteller, I'm going to get up and with my contacts of 3, I'm going to go towards nearest opium den to find folks I might have been done business with. And if I do see Buster, then I will relay the message.
Okay, so your nose is quite adept to the smell of opium. And so you manage to catch sight of a door down the alley. And you head over to it, and inside is a few people, some passed out, some awake and still imbibing. And there is a familiar face or two in the den.
I will walk up to the familiar face or two.
And one of them is a young woman who's been kind of passing out all the substances of the evening. Mm-hmm. And she just looks up and says, "Rudin, darling, how are you?"
My dear, I am absolutely fantastic. How are you?
Oh, pleased as a peach.
Business
You want any?
Oh, I may I may indulge on my way out, but business first, pleasure later.
Always. What can I do for you?
Looking for I'll point towards the other one. I recognize, I believe that one there. I've got a bit of a purchase I'm looking to make. Old business, you know.
Oh, I know those kinds of purchases. Okay.
You think perhaps you can help me get him a little bit more in the giving mood? I think we might be a little short from last time.
I understand. I got you. I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. And she scuttles off, and before we get to that, Buster. So you snuck down into the alleyway. What are you looking for?
Well, I'm just looking to ensure that we do have a distraction this evening. So I've walked over to whomever my contact is, I imagine somewhere in the vicinity, just to give them a tip about some very valuable equipment on this train, something that might be of interest to them. That way there's going to be a bit more of a distraction.
Okay, and you do easily see an older gentleman, kind of scruffy, big hefty beard, clothes filthy with dirt, and he takes to this knowledge quite well, and he goes, well, how good this equipment we're talking?
Should you get your hands on it, I imagine you could probably, I don't know, take over a small town. Depends on what you want to do with it.
Oh, I like the sound of that. I do like that. All right. Well, when you say this train's coming through?
Yes, it's going to happen sometime later this evening. Perhaps you could bring some boys out.
All right. Yeah, I'll get the boys. We'll be good and ready for it. Thank you, Buster. You always do right by me.
Keep your nose clean.
Oh, always.
And I'll just kind of turn tail and walk away.
All right. And so as you're walking out, you do see Rudin pop into the opium den. And for you, with your Gangrel senses, you definitely know what that room is.
Just kind of nod and walk away.
All right. And so Rudin, your contact, after having a long conversation with the young lady, he kind of walks very slowly and deliberately over to you. You can tell he's a little far gone into the evening.
Good.
But he manages to walk over quite slowly and just, evening.
Evening. You are enjoying yourself?
Always. What you need?
The usual things that go boom.
How big a boom?
A little small, a little big. We can diversify, I think. Mostly handguns and rifles, but if you have anything particularly special, I'm certainly interested.
I mean, I got one of them fancy rail guns.
Might be a bit too conspicuous.
All right. Yeah. I got a cart out by go to the edge of town. Blue door. There's a cart beside it. Just take you about, tell you what, take as much as you can without feeling like you owe me.
I appreciate the way that you think.
And consider it a one-time gesture of good faith.
And I will absolutely take this to heart.
All right, good night.
And as he turns, I'm going to just put a hand on his shoulder, lean in, and I am not hungry, but I'm going to take one hunger off of him.
Okay.
to feed my high functioning addiction.
Okay. And so you do get that rush of opium through your system, feeling more awake and alive than you normally do. A little bit itchiness going on, but definitely sharper.
I'll add that into wits.
Okay.
I'll pat him on the back and head out and get my horse, and I'm going to ride over towards that part of town.
Okay. And so for the rest of the gentlemen, Silas, your contact does come back and he lets you know that the train is going to make a stop, and he considers this a deal for you not telling his wife what you saw here tonight.
Wouldn't dream of it.
And Ashton, where are you going to?
Well, I suppose that now that my business is done with the sheriff, I'll head over to the saloon, see if anyone else in our little merry gang is over there now.
Silas would still be there, having just had his conversation with his contact. Buster, did you head back to the saloon after talking to your
Yes.
contact? All right.
I'll walk that way. You do a little blush of life on the way. Not that it matters. I don't particularly care. But
I should also do a little bit of blush of life, just to
Okay, so both of you give me a rouse check.
hope I don't lose that. Oh, that's a success. Good.
Okay.
Be
I
brought that I
failed.
fed from the sheriff just to fail my
Turn around,
rouse
walk
check.
right back into the sheriff's office. Just 1 second, one more. Just give me
Like-
one more.
Rev
All
up those friars, boys.
seconds.
And so, Buster, you said you failed?
Yes, I failed. So
Okay, so you do still get the blush of life, but you do get hungrier. So now you are at a hunger 2. All right, and so Ashton walking in, you see Buster and Silas are here. Rudin is not here yet.
Then I probably would have grabbed us maybe a table off over towards the side a little bit more.
There are
Probably
some
just
more private booth areas.
one of those.
I'll grab a seat. So, how's everybody's night going? Have we accomplished our little tasks for the afternoon?
yes, quite good. Is this? Would you say that this is like a nice establishment?
Oh, heavens no, not for me anyways. For
It-
these kind townspeople, I'm sure it's the finest establishment they've ever seen, and, God bless their souls. Does this activate my Bane's, Clan Bane by chance? It's not that bad, is it?
It's not that bad. It is well built. It's not as nice as you would prefer, but the women are in some of the finest silks recently imported. So, thankfully, their dresses keep you quite appeased for the evening.
Well, they're within the last 2 seasons, so I can't complain that much. By the way, I checked in with the sheriff to make sure that there weren't any advance parties for the Camarilla, any sort of strange happenings around town. Also, by the way, he tastes like shit, but, beggars can't be choosers. Also, the sheriff's on our side now.
Well, that's fair news. Is fairly certain the train will in fact be making a stop here. All we need is Rudin to come back and let us know whether or not he's got a little more oomph for us to bring to bear. Perhaps do we need to employ a few locals to give that distraction we were discussing, because it's gonna be hard for us to be a little sneaky if we're also the ones slinging lead.
Oh, I've already taken care of that. I've got a couple of folks from town who I think will make a pleasant distraction.
I'm beginning to wonder if we even need to be here at all. Seems we're damn good at gathering a posse on our own.
Fair point. I'm gonna stretch my legs.
I think between the group of us, we should be running a whole city by the end of the year, or at least a decade if we're stretching it.
Don't think so small, friend. Don't think so small.
Gonna walk over to the bar and try to fit in, realizing that I don't, for a number of reasons, but I'm gonna order a gin and tonic.
Okay, the bartender does make you a gin and tonic. and he gestures towards Silas and says, "You with him?"
For the evening, yes.
All right, on the house.
Oh, well. I'm just going to tip you well anyways, and I'll just place a good tip on the bar top and walk back.
Clyde take care of you?
Oh, yes. Very good. I'm just going to sit there and just smell it.
Kind of do those fake sips when you don't like a drink where you just let it touch your lip and then drop it.
I just miss the smell. It's been, what, 80 years or something.
80 years for you.
Since the last time I've had one of these, yes.
Oh, yes. It's about the same ballpark for me. I've never asked. We've been traveling together for how many years now? And I don't know how old any of you are.
Not that old in the grand scheme of things.
That's true. 85 myself.
Silas just stares. He's not engaging on this question. He's holding a pipe very much in the same way that you are holding the gin and tonic, almost nostalgically, clearly not engaging with it, but every now and then does try and put a wave of puff through it to kind of keep the embers going, but that's about all. He just kind of stares off into the middle distance.
All right, and Rudin. So as you get to the cart, it is a smuggler's cart with a big tarp over it. And when you lift it, there are 2 barrels of gunpowder, a crate or 2 of dynamite, 3 stick bundles. There's another crate of just some singular sticks, and then a long crate of 2 rifles and about 6 6-shooters.
I'm going to... Just the one tarp, then? Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to, I'll take the blanket off of my horse.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to take, the 3-stick dynamite out, like the box of it out, and put it on the ground. I'll put one of the gunpowder barrels out on the ground, and then I will cover that with my blanket. Then I will hitch the wagon to my horse and ride back.
Okay.
Very much cutting the one slice of cake and then taking the rest.
All right, and so you do manage to tie up the horse that was previously holding that cart and hitch it to your own. And where are you going with this horse?
I suppose I'm going to be going back into town, as we do not have a rendezvous location, and I don't think we're going to do much good in a cave when we have to go all the way back to town to use this stuff anyway. Okay. So back in we go.
So you take a park to the town, and you can see pretty clearly from the window that your contacts, your 3 coterie mates, are in the saloon. Do you want to join them in the saloon?
I'm actually going to flag down the nearest youth.
Okay.
And I'm going to give them just whistle them, gesture them over, and put like a few coin in their hand and go, "You see the fancy looking bastard over there at the table with the other 2?
Yes, sir.
Can you go ask them where their friend in black might deliver packages for the evening?"
Okay, friend in black deliver packages.
Where is it going? Yes, thank you.
Okay. And the kid kind of sneaks in, and you can see he'll stop for a second and look at the girls and then just keep trying to sneak. And the gentleman at the table, you see this young child come up. He's maybe about 10 years old. And he gets to Ashton and says, sir?
Yes, young man. How can I help you this afternoon?
I was told to ask you where your friend in the black can take the packages.
Wait, that is a good question. Where should we have our friend in black drop off the packages?
Don't worry about this. You tell him, and I kind of hunker down a little. You tell him there's a warehouse just outside of town. You give him this, and I reach in my pocket and kind of pull out a key. Give him this. You tell him that I'll let him right in. Make sure he locks it on the way out. You remember all that?
Okay.
tell him there's a warehouse outside of town. I know where that one is. And gotta give him this key, and he's gotta lock it on the way out.
Yeah, tell him to hold on to that key.
Okay, he'll hold on to the key and lock on it on his way out.
And
You got a place to stay?
Yeah, I just snuck out because I like to see the pretty ladies.
I understand that. Here, you take care of yourself, and I go ahead and just tip him probably a large amount of money for a child.
Oh, yeah. And so, Rudin, he walks out, gives you the key with the instructions.
I will tussle his hair, and then I will make for the warehouse, and I will deposit the entire cart in the warehouse before riding back into town and locking up.
And he's going to run back to his little hiding spot, kind of behind a barrel, peeking into the window at the girls.
I like that kid. He reminds me of me at his age.
That's an awfully cruel thing to say about a child.
Well, I could have said something worse, like, he reminds me of you, but...
That means he's destined for great things. Well, I feel like we've taken care of things in a rather expeditious manner. How do you fellows feel about spending the rest of this evening? We have quite a bit of time, and I look out the window and kind of see where the moon's at.
Good question. We do have a good rest of the afternoon to us. I am simply stuffed, however. But does anybody else need anything to drink, perhaps?
Actually thinking I might go just outside of town and just take a look. Kind of keep an eye. Have a little advanced warning when the train comes into town, but I think we've got a little time left before I need to go for that.
I do want to check and see, I assume if we're here, Camarilla might have been wise enough to send an advance party as well, just to make sure the path is smooth, and I want to see if I can't get an inkling of if anyone might be nosing around before we're trying to bring this business to a head.
Good call. I did check in with the sheriff earlier, the mortal sheriff. Or, sorry, I didn't say mortal. Yeah, I said mortal. I'll lean into it. I did check in with the mortal sheriff, and he hasn't seen anything out of whack. However, he is a bit of a enjoyer of fine brandies, so we'll have to take him at his word, but it wouldn't hurt to double check.
I'd appreciate if you would find information from just one of these people that did involve them being some level of inebriated and help me trust it a touch bit more.
My friend, the alcohol is healthier than the water here. At least it doesn't give you dysentery. I challenge you to find one sober person in this establishment. Or within the next 5 miles.
I hate to say it, but I do believe you're right. Fair enough. Still gonna give a little walkabout just to be sure your mortal sheriff wasn't a little too in his cups to be really perceptive as we might hope he could be.
Yes, well, we had a drink together, so he's probably a little less perceptive now.
Would we
It will
be
help us in the long run.
aware of where in town other kindred might choose to hang out? If
As
there's
far
somewhere
as you're aware, at this point of the settling out west, there's really not much more kindred. Most of them tend to be more independent, lone kindred, usually keeping to themselves since there hasn't been much busy settlement out this way.
Okay.
And kind of tailing off that just real quick, do we have a general sense of kind of Anarch presence versus like Camarilla in this region?
It's typically mostly Anarch. Almost the entire state is pretty Anarch, largely just due to the fact of settling out here. It's kind of hard for the Camarilla to have a staunch hold on cities that are so loosely established and with such loose borders. But there's maybe, a prince here or there that has claimed praxis over a general town. it appears that the Prince of Lone Elm was the mayor of Lone Elm before becoming kindred, and so has just maintained it since.
Good to know.
Part of why people come out here. Get away from authority. That's why I came to this country.
Yes, it's a good place to reinvent yourself.
Oh, Rudin, I think you're muted.
I think I'll come in after like dropping everything off at the warehouse at this point to join
Okay.
up with everybody.
Okay, and so you guys see Rudin come in.
Routine, always a delight.
We have a bit of an upper hand now. What is the topic of conversation?
I think we're all talking about how to go about the rest of our time before we begin to commence with the evening's festivities. Buster, I believe you said you might have procured some assistance for us. Do you know if they need arming?
Well, I think usually they come with their own, but perhaps the storyteller correct me on that.
They
Never
do
hurts-
come
never hurts to
armed
ask.
themselves. They
very
they
good.
are quite adept at what they do.
Let's say that they've shaken a couple of cages before.
Excellent. I did want to throw one more idea out, y'all, just to put another little ripple in the plan. There is a fairly handy coffin maker here in town. We don't quite know exactly what this Methuselah is going to be rolling in, but do we want to go for a bit of a grab and switch on this one? Perhaps, fingers crossed it'll be under some sort of tarp. Maybe we throw something in there to take its place. Maybe they never even notice it's gone.
Probably wise.
You could have led with this. We could have all gone in a coffin.
Well, I don't have a good response for that, so can't think of everything here. This can't all be my ideas.
It's less interesting that way anyway. This
Keep
is
us
more
on
fun.
our toes.
I would give anything to see what happens to the people that are supposed to transport this coffin when they find out that it's gone.
Be careful what you wish for. You may just find out.
That I hope not. Find out, yes. See, no. But I would like to.
All right, and Buster, if you could please give me wits and awareness.
Sure.
And remember to use 2 hunger die for your 2 hunger.
Okay, and all right. Um, 4 successes.
All right. So, very faintly, imperceptible to everybody else, you do hear a train whistle. Which means you all probably have about an hour. Trains back in this day were not particularly fast. They could definitely pass through a school zone. But you do confirm that it is on the way.
Perhaps I should go take a look.
You hear the train?
Yes, just a faint whistle. We've got plenty of time, but could go.
Yeah, go sniff around, see what you can uncover.
You got-
Rudin, you're a bit quiet. Are you?
I had a bit of a drink myself earlier. It takes the edge off. No, I was saying I might I have to go get all of our stuff again if this train is almost here. But Silas, I like this coffin idea. Perhaps a bit of a spin on it though. If you could procure one. Just one.
One it is. I'll meet you. You gonna bring them from that warehouse? By the way, where's my key?
Well, I need to get back in the warehouse, yeah?
Let's make sure that ends up back in my pocket by the end of the night, if you will.
Claro. And I'll go back to the warehouse to get the cart to bring it back here.
Okay. And so, Silas, what are you doing with this extra time?
I'll probably stand up, tap out my pipe, go ahead and pocket it, brim my cap to anyone else remaining at the table, and I'm going to head out. And I really am just, I'm going to make my way towards where I know the coffin maker shop is. But as I'm going, I'm looking to see if I can see any sign, whether that's people acting as if perhaps they've been fed on, or just something that might tingle my senses that there's someone in town I should be aware of as I make my way.
Okay, give me wits and awareness.
Is not great. Total failure.
Okay. There's a lot of people, and the town is mostly empty with most...
Oh, actually, sorry, I do need to say that was a 1 on my hunger die. Does that impact anything?
Oh, that is a bestial failure.
Yeah, so one of those.
So you get a little intense about your looking around. It's actually kind of pissing you off a bit that you can't figure out if there's any kindred in here. Everybody's asleep, and saloon's packed, but all the other God-fearing people are asleep. But the coffin maker's shop is nice and dark, with a few coffins outside. Probably could just take one.
So yeah, I'm kind of pissed now. Walk up and see the coffin. Out of game question: is my strength normal as a vampire? Am I strong enough to just haul one of these coffins myself?
Yes, for the strength rating that you have on your character sheet, you can absolutely haul one of these by yourself.
Cool. So almost a little recklessly, just because I'm kind of feeling both like, the shithole town. What am I doing here? I just shoulder one of these coffins and kind of start heading back towards that warehouse to get there in time to see Rudin.
Okay. And so, Rudin, you see Silas approaching, just large cherry wood coffin over his shoulder.
Yeah, at this point, I probably locked up. You felt like taking a hike?
I just kind of grunt and toss the coffin on the back of the wagon next to the whatever covered up stuff we have.
Yeah. And I'm gonna uncover. I'm gonna open the coffin. I'm gonna uncover the gunpowder. And I'm gonna put the barrel in the coffin, and I will close the lid.
The barrel is larger than the coffin. You would need to open the barrel and pour it out.
Then I will open the barrel and fill the coffin with as much gunpowder as will fill.
All right, and so you have filled this coffin with gunpowder.
And then I will seal it and just go, I liked your coffin idea.
I have to say, and I don't say this often, but you improved on it.
Mm. Just needed a touch of inspiration.
And so, Ashton, what are you doing?
Well, I feel that... What should I be doing? I'll tell you what, I'm going to head over to the train station. I got myself a little bit of an idea.
Okay. So you head over to the train station. There's a light on inside, just a little oil lamp, but there's nobody in it. But the door is unlocked.
Oh, nobody in? That's disappointing. I'm going
inside?
Yes, I'll go inside, see what I can find.
All right, if you could please give me wits and investigation.
Investigation. That is 1 success.
1 success is enough for this. As you're kind of looking around, being a little nosy, you do see some purchase orders just for some recent trade of cattle that's been sent out to Lone Elm. And you had heard about Lone Elm being run by kindred, but a name suddenly strikes you from the paper. The mayor of Lone Elm is one Vivian Galloway of Clan Toreador. So that would indicate the prince of Lone Elm is of your clan.
Oh, shit. hit. Damn it all, and I'm going to fold it up and I'll put it in my pocket and storm out of the train station, meet up with everybody else.
And Buster, where are you right now?
Well, I'm going to walk out to the edge of town. And once I'm kind of safely out of sight, I'm going to use my shape change to turn into a rather large wolf.
Okay.
And run out, kind of scope out what the train looks like on its way in before coming back.
Okay. So you are able to kind of book it along the tracks. And you do see that it is a 10-car train with one engine. The first car is all coal for the engine. There are 8 standard cargoes, with the third cart having its door slightly open. And give me wits and awareness again.
All right, that'll be, I believe, as the wolf. Okay, well, that's not as bad as it could be, I suppose. Hunger is still the same in wolf form, yes?
Yes.
2 successes.
Okay. So you do see that there is not a lock on any of these train cars. It appears like this is such small time cargo move that they have not heavily secured it. It's likely, from your experience, maybe mostly grains or wheat, hay bales, probably typical farming dry goods. And then there is a caboose in the back in which you can see 2 gentlemen asleep.
Well, seems rather unassuming. Guess I'll head back and eventually inform everyone else.
Okay, and so as the group meets up, Buster does inform you of what he has found. And Ashton, are you going to tell the group what you found?
It isn't pertinent to the immediate investigation that we're doing, or the immediate heist. I might tell them afterwards, of course, but, well, no need to complicate things when they're going so well right now.
Absolutely. And so, as you guys get ready for the incoming train, I think this is a good time for us to take a quick break. So we will take a break, stretch our legs, get some water, and we will be right back with this heist.
Well, I'm gonna.
Comes to my attention.
And welcome back. So now as our coterie has been hanging out, the train has now appeared on the horizon and it is incoming.
I'm gonna tap the back of the cart and go, there's pistols and rifles back here. There's some dynamite as well, and a special delivery coffin.
Special delivery coffin?
Special delivery coffin.
I like it.
You don't want to be there to find out what it is. I'll tell you that much.
This delivery does not have your name on it, hopefully.
There is something I should probably tell you all.
Sorry, what was that? And I'm kind of like loading up and checking it. What'd you say?
Good statements do not start like that.
So, my contact is a member of my clan that I trust, or, well, trust as far as anyone in our profession or state of being can trust another. However, it comes to my attention that the prince of this pleasant little Camarilla town that our train is headed towards is also a member of our clan. Of my clan. Our clan. The clan of my informant and myself, which is Clan Toreador, which is also the clan of the prince.
You think that the contact is connected to the prince, or you think this is just now we know a bit more of what to expect?
Well, I'm going to interject here and say that I don't give a hot damn what his opinion on the quality of the contact is at this point, because I feel like, as I have said repeatedly about you and the people you come in contact with, they're fairly unreliable, and at this point it seems this unreliability is about to come and bite us in the ass, so I don't care what he thinks, because he clearly doesn't know. We have to assume the whole thing's shit.
Well, it's a good thing that we have this then, yeah?
Maybe we should put him in it before we load it.
No, won't have enough space for the rest of the gunpowder if we put it in there.
Excuse me, how many times have I come through for all of you?
That is a really excellent question, because I'm having a hard time remembering right now.
I think I can name at least one. I think at least one.
Thank you, Buster, for having at least some memory.
I don't know if he can fully take credit for San Antonio, but if you want to be generous, sure. So we'll give you a generous one.
And Houston. We wouldn't have these horses if it wasn't for Houston. I mean, Rudin, you did an amazing job making it so that they could, you know, the original owners could be forgotten. And Buster, of course, you also helped the horses agree with us a little bit more. But, I mean, we wouldn't even have a cave to sleep in if it wasn't for me. Thank you. So, honestly, I feel that this, honestly, not even a slip up. This means... Think about what this means. It means that together we are enough of a threat to the Camarilla presence that they're willing to put up an entire elaborate ruse just to fuck us. Which means we are dangerous together against them.
I will tell you what it means. It means we are now 2 minutes behind being where we need to be because we've had this conversation as the train is coming.
Well, we'll figure it out on the fly. God damn it, we always have to figure out something on the fly. Let's go.
You think straight on the fly. And I hop on my horse.
All right, and so you guys ride towards the train. And true to Buster's word, there is not a lock on any of the cargo. There is a driver, a coal train. The third car does have the door open about 6 inches or so.
Hey Buster, when is your wrecking crew coming through?
Yeah, it should happen whenever the train stops, so that would be in town.
And Storyteller, the train's in motion and coming
Yes.
this way, and you said
It's beginning to slow down as it's approaching the station.
And you said that the we can see the doors open?
Yes.
Cool. I want to use shadow perspective since that's in my line of sight, and I want to see and hear what's going on in that car.
In that car?
Yeah.
So in that car...
Good.
Okay. You can hear wood crates kind of rustling and shifting about and kind of hitting each other. You can hear some sacks of grain moving about. That's about it inside that car.
Can I see through the shadow into there? Same thing?
You can see crates and bags of grain.
Okay, so but nothing waiting in that car as far as I can see from the shadows.
Nope.
Right. A third car if we need a place to hide for a minute, but we'll have to act quickly.
I believe there were some individuals on the final car, the caboose, rather. I think perhaps that might be a place to pry for information.
Typically, that's where any hired hands, as far as moving cargo, might take place. Can't imagine they'd have a guard back there, but of course, I didn't imagine this was all some elaborate setup, and yet here we are.
You think the coffin is going to be on the back, or is it going to be somewhere else on the train?
I highly doubt it's on the back. Taking a glance at the train as we're kind of like riding along, does anything jump out at me as like, oh, it looks suspicious, that looks a little heavily armored, or anything like that?
Nope, it appears that this train is pretty unguarded. It looks like the typical cargo trains you see, ones where when they have to go a short distance, they don't particularly care too much about high security.
Honestly, it's hard to pin down, but I do think you're right. Perhaps some information might be had in the back. Maybe they saw something during the loading process that could give us a tip. I'm sure we can convince them to share some of that information, if you will.
Absolutely. And the sooner we get there, the sooner they're not being knocked around by ruffians.
Don't
And
worry,
so-
I can wrap them around my finger if need be.
And so the train does begin to slow a bit more as it is coming into the station now.
Look over and I say, I think maybe we hop on this back here before it makes it into the ruckus. And I just kind of start heading my horse along, planning to kind of jump onto the back.
Okay. And the wheels are screeching loudly as it does pull to a halt, and it kind of gives a bit of a jostle as it stops. But as this is a 10-car train, only about the first 2 to 3 cars are at the actual station itself. You are a good ways away from the station if you approach the caboose.
Eyes up, boys. Let's go.
I'm riding along with this cart, and I'm trying to look for a good place to put this coffin because I don't think I want to haul it up into the caboose with me.
As of right now, you don't know much of any of the train cars.
Mm-hmm.
That remains to be seen.
I would say let's try and keep that coffin out of line of the side of the town as much as possible. Maybe blocking around one side of the caboose or the other. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of gracefully leap onto the back of the caboose.
Okay. Anyone else joining Silas on the caboose?
I'll go along.
Yes, I shall as well.
Okay. And Rudin, once you have parked the cart kind of blocked on the caboose, are you joining them?
Is there a ladder that goes up top of the caboose along
Yes.
the side?
Yes.
I'm gonna take that instead.
Okay. Make your way towards the top.
Yep. And then any skyward view into the cars, I'm just gonna be keeping an eye from there.
Okay. Pretty much any of the carts does have a latch on the top, just standard issue. But as these carts are metal, it would be quite loud.
Nevertheless, I can move a bit. I can move a bit silently, and if I hear things, I can be a bit of a surprise.
Okay. And so Silas, Buster, and Ashton, you are able to slide open the back door of the caboose, and there are 2 berths hanging of just hammocks with 2 rail workers just snoring their heart's content.
And that seems to be it. There doesn't seem to be anyone up or about.
No, it appears that these gentlemen have very little in terms of clothing or personal effects. There is a small desk with a corkboard of train schedules on it and some postings for want ads and jobs and a couple wanted posters just in case they come across anything.
Kind of glance over my shoulder and give a little motion, kind of quiet hand, and I want to slip up to the one on the bottom, and I want to slip a hand over their mouth, so they don't make any noise, but I do want them to wake up and lock eyes with me, and I want to give them a bit of the old awe.
All right, and so you do slip your hand over his mouth, and he wakes up and struggles against your hand real quick, just. But as your awe hits, you see his eyes kind of glaze over as he just sort of softens under your hand and relaxes a bit.
And I would quietly whisper, and I don't know if this needs to be a compel thing or if awe is working enough, but I would just say follow, because I want him to come outside, because I want to talk one-on-one before these poor souls expire, which I feel like they probably will at some point.
Yeah, with awe up, he does find you irresistible, so he will follow you, and so he kind of crawls out of his hammock, almost falling a little bit, just still.
I'm kind of supporting and guiding, like
yeah,
I got you, buddy.
And he checks his friend, make sure he's still asleep, and he walks with you outside and kind of shuts the door behind and looks at the three of you and says, "Are you robbing us?"
I say, no, friend, we wouldn't dream of it. And I pull out a cigarette case and I hold a cigarette out to him.
Oh, thank you kindly.
Kind of light it for him. We just, we're friends, as I'm sure you can tell, and don't worry about them. Let's stay here with me. What can you tell me about this train and what you might be carrying on it?
Just taking some dry goods over to Lone Elm.
Sure. Did you load those goods up when you were coming from where you were coming from?
I did. We're coming from Georgetown. They said they need some dry goods in Lone Elm. We got the dry goods, and we got there was a couple other boxes that they said were personal deliveries, so we just let them load that into the 7th car.
Oh, the 7th car, of course. Wise of you. Did any of them get in that car with those personal goods by any chance?
Oh no, they just said it was personal delivery for us to make sure that Mayor Galloway picked it up.
Oh, of course, good mayor. And I kind of shoot a glance over at Ashton. Good fucking mayor. Well, that's great to hear, friend. I'd hate to keep you any longer. Oh, here, it looks like that's burning out for you. And I kind of take the cigarette away and stamp it. I say, how about you just make your way back inside? Get you some rest. That.
And friend, do yourself a favor and forget what you saw here. And I'm going to use cloud memory.
And he just kind of nods and looks around a little bit and just walks back in and climbs back into his berth and just sort of curls up and covers his face with his hat.
Out of curiosity, what color were his eyes?
Blue.
Okay, cool. Let's let him walk back in. I say special delivery for the mayor, I hear. Personal belongings, personal effects, if you will. Insubstantial, inconsequential, I assume.
Well,
so 7th car then.
The 7th car?
7th car.
You guys are on the back of the caboose, outside, right?
Yeah, like kind of that back porch area.
Yeah, I'll just look down. I'll look down from the roof of it. And I'm gonna walk along, and I want to do something just for simplicity's sake. The wagon, the cart that I've parked alongside the caboose.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like going down to get it. I'd like to activate an arm of Aramen to drag it to the 7th car.
Okay.
I don't get hungrier.
You do still have your horse that you could coax down to the side.
He's dragging the horse with it too. Just
considering the cart was going to explode, I figured I'd let the horse go somewhere else. But
Okay.
yeah, so I'm not going to blow my horse up. So, and yeah, 6 critical on that. So just a few arms just come up from the ground and pull the cart along with me to the 7th. To the 7th cart, and I'm gonna let the arms stay up, but hiding in the shadows.
Okay. And if all of you could please give me wits and awareness.
Uh-oh.
3 successes.
Also
Okay.
3.
2 successes and 2 ones, and one of them's on my hunger die.
Yeah, fine.
It's okay. The one on your
Okay.
hunger die only matters if you have a total failure.
Cool.
So, you guys hear it beginning. The rushing across the wood of the train station as the group of bandits that Buster has employed come loudly rushing to the train car, yelling, hooting, and hollering, and causing a ruckus up around the 3rd car as the door was already open. And the conductor is getting off of the train. The driver just, hey, you get off there. And he's grabbing his shotgun and he is getting out from the side of the train. What are you going to do?
Kind of motion everyone ahead. I point to Buster and to Ashton and motion them to go around one side. Rudin to go above on top, and I'm going to go around on the opposite side where he's pulling the cart along. And I just kind of motion, let's go, and then go in from both sides.
All right. And so as you guys are sneaking around, you do hear the blast of a shotgun, and you hear 6-shooters start going off as the bandits are just cracking up laughing and hooting and hollering at this person, and you hear a few cries of people getting hit, another shotgun blast, and the firefight that serves as your distraction has begun.
Good Ashton. Shall we just pull the door open?
After you.
All right, I'll grab one. Just rip it off.
Okay, and you go into the 7th car, all of you?
Yeah, as soon as I hear them doing that, like from my side of the train, I'll mirror it on the opposite side.
Okay.
I'm gonna
And
stay
so-
up top for now, but if the door is open, then I'll continue to listen.
Okay. And so thankfully the firefight has covered the sound of these large metal doors being flung open. And now you have a clear breezeway going on either side as you guys enter. And this room contains lots of barrels, a few marked as whiskey, a few marked as grain. There are some piles of wood and piles of coal that are covered with tarps, likely for delivery, unlike the coal that is in the first car. And then there's a few other box shapes and whatnot, just tarps kind of covering a general area, since this seemed to be more personal effects.
All right, let's be quick about it. Check under those tarps. Don't worry about anything small. We're looking for a thing to fit a body in. I assume you know what a body looks like.
And are you leaving the doors open?
Well, until you said that, I can't say that I was going to close any.
I mean, Ashton would probably close them behind him.
Okay, so the one on Ashton's side is closed.
So the cart side is probably open.
Okay. And so as you guys start rifling through, give me wits and investigation. It's a very wit-heavy game.
I see that.
Is a 0 a success? I forget.
Yes, that's a 10.
That's one of the criticals.
That's a critical.
5 successes.
Okay.
I got 3, but I also got a skull on my hunger die.
That's fine. That only matters if you fail.
That's a critical and 1 success.
Okay. And so as you're all digging through, you are finding some personal luggage that contains nice clothing. And Silas manages to pull the lucky tarp to unveil probably the most beautiful thing any of you could have ever anticipated. A wood stained so scarlet red that the color is impossible to occur in nature outside of blood. A 10-inch ankh has been meticulously carved in the top of the coffin and then inlaid with gold, and the sides contain heavy steel padlocks and irons. Whoever is in there is not getting out anytime soon.
Subtle, ain't they?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
And Ashton, as you look on this coffin, it really is such a thing of beauty. It's nearly distracting. It's very difficult to take your eyes off of it.
It's like it was by the clock.
Let's go, Buster. You grab that end. Ashton, you get that one right there. Lead it over this way. I'll help you get into the cart. We gotta move quick here, boys.
Yes, come on.
All right, so for moving the cart, you are all going to need to make, let's call this strength and brawl.
I've already moved the cart over to the door.
Yes, this is to move the coffin itself.
Okay.
Ashton, you will take a 1-die penalty for being distracted by its beauty.
So I have 1 in strength and no in brawl.
So
that's
if
not that
if
good.
you would like, I have a clan coterie merit that can add 2 successes to a test made, but it will be considered a messy critical on your part.
That sounds cool story-wise. Let's do it. Like that fits.
All right. Well, then I would like Ashton to use my at any cost merit.
Okay.
So 2 successes on top of whatever he rolls.
Okay, and since you have the 1-die penalty, it'll just be 2 successes.
And it's a messy crit too.
Okay, and Silas, what did you roll?
1 success.
Okay, Buster?
Just a critical on the blood die.
All right. So, as you guys start to pull it, Ashton is too ready to take possession of this coffin as he manages to get a hold of one of the sides and just yanks it near clean off, almost stumbling out the back of the cart yourself. But you do manage to get it to the edge of the train car if you are wanting to move it onto the cart.
Once
Ashton, God damn it, get your shit together. We gotta do this quiet.
Once I see them at the edge of the cart, since I'm up top, I'm going to, with the arms still out, I'm going to just have shadowy arms. They don't look like tentacles. They actually look like like flat hands and arms. Just lift up and grab the sides of the cart to just assist in pulling it onto the wagon.
As you're doing that, can you all please make me another wits and awareness?
I'm so used to D&D. Every time you talk, I'm like, she's gonna ask us to roll initiative, and I'm like, oh shit.
A wits and awareness roll is basically possibly initiative.
5,
That is 3 successes.
3.
2 successes.
5.
Okay. So for Rudin and Buster, you feel the lurch of the train as it has begun to move before the arms can really take root on the coffin, and you all begin to hear sets of footsteps coming over the roof above you.
And then I can see them.
You can see, Rudin, approaching 4 women that you don't particularly recognize, but they seem very determined as the train lurches forward again, the ruckus having died down and the train has begun in motion.
They see me, I imagine.
Oh, they see you.
I just go. Yeah, and I'm gonna step off the side of the train, and drop. And because my arms couldn't get to the coffin in time, I'm gonna have them catch me.
Okay.
And since they can just move, I'd like the arms to then the shadow just shift to the side of the train, so
Okay.
I'm just tethered.
Okay. And so for the 3 of you, you hear the approaching footsteps above.
Did we get the coffin into the cart, or are we just kind of Abbott and Costelloing it like in the middle of this train?
The coffin is probably about a foot maybe outside of the train, but the bulk of it is still inside.
Is the wagon still? I mean, I assume it's a slow start on a train. Is the wagon still close enough there?
Yep, wagon is still close enough.
I say, fuck. And just give it a kick and try and kick it into the wagon.
Give me strength and brawl.
Can I add to the strength and brawl since I'm now like next to the coffin, but like hanging off the side of the train?
Because you can't see inside of the train to see that he's trying to do this.
Fair.
To roll 2 dice. Those are both failures. Can I use a willpower?
Yeah, you can spend a willpower to re-roll up to 3 dice.
Cool. We will definitely do that. Okay, well, nope, that's a failure and a crit on, or it's bad. It's a 1 on the on the hunger die and a failure.
Sorry, willpower, you don't re-roll your hunger die.
Oh, you don't re-roll the hunger die. So
right.
Okay. Well, then it's still a failure.
Okay.
I'm just angrily nudging the thing with my foot.
So you kick it and a loud noise happens, and you hear from the top, the hatch opens, and a beautiful woman with dark skin, long hair leans in and says, don't be taking what ain't yours. And they proceed to drop down one at a time. And Ashton, you are faced with Vivian Galloway.
Oh, shit.
And what stands before you is the prince, and from the look of it, her sheriff with nice shiny sheriff star, and what you can only guess are 2 scourges. Now, gentlemen, I would really hate to have to kill you, so step away from the coffin.
Draw my gun. You're a very beautiful woman, Prince. I'd hate to die.
Silas, you are muted.
I gave a great line too.
But again,
I'm afraid that stepping away isn't really in the cards at this point, ladies. But if you want to dance, we're game if you are.
And one of the scourges steps up and just kind of readies her fist and goes, well then let's dance, boys. And she is going to rush you, Silas, with a punch. Let me roll for her. That is 6 successes to punch you square in the mouth and knock you to the ground.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that happens.
Yep. And so, Silas, you go down pretty hard, landing on the ground. Buster, the sheriff, is looking dead at you, just smiling. Goes, are you gonna leave?
I'm not sure who exactly you think I am, but, no. I think that... No.
Shame. And she pulls out a 6-shooter with speed that she should not be able to possess.
All right, well, I'll use my rapid reflexes to, not take a penalty for not having cover.
All right, and she only gets 3 successes to shoot at you with rapid reflexes. You are able to dodge that effectively. And she is going to continue to try to shoot at you, but there is enough in here that you could easily take cover.
Sure, I'll hop behind some cover.
Okay, Rudin?
So, train is still moving, I imagine.
Yes, the train is now beginning to pick up speed.
I had 5 successes, so I've got like 5 arms. So one of them I want to just grab the wagon and pull along with me.
Okay.
And with the others, with the other 4, I'm gonna kind of like Doc Ock up the side of the train.
Okay.
Just to get the above vantage point that the women don't have now, because I can hear them from inside the door.
Okay. And Ashton, the prince walks up to you and turns on awe. And she's just looking at you and just, Pendergast, my darling, you really are a disappointment. You know that? Chicago wasn't enough for you?
I turn on entrancement.
Okay.
Please, the entire United States isn't enough for me. Now, you can be the mayor and prince of a small town, or you can join the obviously winning side.
I am the obviously winning side, as she has unswayable mind. And she just grins, and in an instant, her hand is around your throat. And she is going to... Let me roll for this. One, two, three, four. 4 successes, so not quite. She will then throw you to the back side of the car. And you land against the wall and drop down behind some boxes.
I didn't know things were that bad in the Ivory Tower that you had to dirty your hands yourself, Prince.
I
I'm
prefer it.
I pull out my revolver and I'm gonna shoot her.
Okay, please roll me dex and firearms.
Okay. Yeah. 3 and then is counting is hard. I count. 3, 4, 5. Okay. That is literally only 1 success. Wow.
So,
That's my biggest dice pull yet today.
unfortunately, it misses, but she takes amusement.
Could I burn a willpower to
Yes.
reroll that?
You can burn a willpower to reroll up to 3 dice, not including your hunger.
Alright. Just to save some. Okay, alright. That's 3 successes, 1 critical.
Okay, so you do manage to wing her a bit across the shoulder and take off a bit of flesh, and her arm hits back and she just... You filthy little anarchs. And what you can now assume is the Bruja Scourge rushes you.
I'd like to stop that Bruja from rushing
Okay.
by just sending one of the arms straight down like a noose and catching her.
Okay, give me Dex and Brawl.
Since it's with one of the arms, am I doing anything with Oblivion on top of that, or?
You'll add an extra dice for Oblivion.
All right.
Well, it's over. He has the high ground.
I don't know. We don't want to underestimate their power.
So many dice.
How do they feel about sand? That's what I really want to know.
6 critical, so I guess it's a total of 8.
Okay, so the arm snakes down, catching her by the throat. As she reaches up to grab it, the arm pulls her into the air, holding her aloft as if she had any breath in her, she would be choking right now. But as of now, she is hung from the ceiling, struggling.
Yep, just taking her off the table, and if I can, with another move while I'm up there, I want to point my what's the name of it? My Henry repeating rifle straight down at, I think it was the prince that was near the Bruja, and just fire.
Okay. The prince has moved away, but you can try and take an angle on her, so give me dex and firearms.
Sure. Oh. 6.
Okay. You do manage to hit her kind of in the foot area as she kind of cries out and goes, God, I am tired of this.
And since the rifle's got a +2 or +3 to damage, if that matters.
Yeah, she is taking an aggravated point of damage from it.
All right. Boom.
Buster, what are you doing?
We still got the coffin on the train, so I think as things are starting to get a little bit hairy, I'm going to basically run at and tackle the coffin off of the train.
Okay. Give me strength and brawl.
Since I'm on the ground from where I was punched as I was trying to do a similar maneuver, can I kind of scramble with him and throw my weight behind that as well?
Yes, so you can either roll strength and brawl with him or give him a 2-die bonus.
I'm going to give you a 2-die bonus.
Okay. I
as
do
look at my
have
sheet.
specialty in grappling.
That gives you an
for
extra
brawl.
die.
Excellent.
Nice.
So now you have 3 additional die on top of what you normally would have.
And that'll be helpful because the wagon is alongside the open door at this point, thanks to my arm.
Oh, very good. Okay. 4, 5, 6 successes.
Any criticals?
2.
Okay, so that actually turns into 8.
No, I was counting the criticals
Okay.
already.
Okay.
But because I had 2 successes were my 4, 5, 6.
Okay, so 6 successes critical. You manage to hit it and you knock it, and it is almost entirely off. The cart is kind of keeping pace. So now I would say the coffin is about 75% into your cart. And as you do that, Silas, you threw your weight in with him to get that in, and you hear a gun click and ready behind your head. As you turn around to see what is likely the other scourge, a woman with gorgeous curly hair.
Can I use my fleetness to spin around quickly and brandish out? I have these 2 kind of silver razor blades in either coat pocket, kind of filigree with like a fleur-de-lis, and I just want to like spin them out and see if I just can't slash at the wrist behind my head.
Go right ahead and give me we'll call that dex and melee.
Doesn't matter because I don't have pips. Gonna use willpower on that roll. Doesn't matter. That's 2 ones in a row. Okay. So 1 critical failure. Nothing.
Anything on your hunger die?
Just a 3 on my hunger dice. Just failure.
Okay.
So 2 failures. 1 critical failure.
So you go and she manages to get out of the way quick, and she puts the gun straight into the meat of your shoulder and fires, and you take a point of aggravated damage.
I kind of lean into it as she does it.
It is now difficult to use your left arm.
That's fair. That's where I got my second vaccine today. So it's, I'm real method.
All right, and so as you guys got the coffin mostly out, Ashton, what are you doing?
I'm gonna step out from behind cover and activate awe.
Okay.
Prince Galloway, maybe we can take a moment to discuss things a little bit.
And
This
you have
can be
your
a
hands
very... I have my hands out,
out? Okay.
guns holstered. Perhaps this can be mutually profitable between the 2 of us? Or the all of us?
She levels her gun towards the middle of your head and says, I'm listening.
You look like somebody who doesn't like to bow down in front of anybody else. And I respect
I don't
that.
bow down
No?
to anyone.
Everyone in the Camarilla bows down to somebody.
Shows what you Anarchs know.
Oh, believe me, I did the Camarilla song and dance. There's always an elder, or another prince, or somebody else, a Justicar perhaps, but if, let's say, you wanted, instead of being a prince, a queen among the Anarchs.
See, you say that you did the Camarilla song and dance, but I heard about Chicago and here you sit as an Anarch, so as far as I'm concerned, you're a failure. So what do I have to gain from the plans of a failure?
You would never have to answer to another kindred for as long as your nights last, and our nights last very long.
I don't answer to anybody.
Camarilla always answers to somebody, but this is a very big bargaining chip. And while I'm talking, are they shoving it out the car?
So as this conversation is happening is when they're trying to shove it out.
Perfect.
But as you have her distracted, one of the other scourges with the beautiful curly hair, she is actually going to, let me double check. Yeah.
I do have my awe activated.
Yes.
Okay.
The only person who seems to care about that right now is the sheriff.
Okay.
The other scourge with the curly hair looks to Buster and Silas trying to get the coffin. And I need both of you to roll me your, I believe it's composure and resolve.
Just 2, 1 critical.
Okay, 2 critical.
6 successes.
Okay. And so...
And I apologize, just remind me again, what makes a messy crit if you have a crit and one of those is a hunger die?
Yes.
Okay, alright, cool.
And so, Silas, you feel nothing. But Buster, inside of you feels hot. Very hot. Everything in your veins feels like it's catching fire. And you are going to take 1 point of aggravated damage, and your hunger will go up by 1 point. It feels almost as if the inside of you is boiling.
My toughness doesn't do anything to that. It's only superficial damage, right?
It can turn it to superficial, but you will still gain the hunger.
Sure. I'll go ahead and use toughness.
Okay. So that aggravated turns into superficial, and your hunger still goes up 1. So you are now at hunger 3, and there is a pit in your stomach as the beast of hunger is clawing to get out, urging you that these women are pointless. Camarilla are trash. They'd be better off slaking your thirst than bothering you anymore.
That's not a new thought.
Hey, remember that Bruja hanging from the ceiling?
Yeah.
I want to pendulum swing her into the one that's standing over my friends.
Okay. Into the curly-haired one?
Yep.
Okay.
7 successes.
Okay, you're absolutely able to do that. You swing one scourge into the other, knocking them both to the wall.
And just for extra oomph, I will let go of that scourge, just like throw her into that one.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
And so, Ashton, the sheriff approaches you, and she just reaches up and lightly touches your face. And she says, "You really do talk too much." And your mind starts to alter as the friends that you've come with now don't appear to be friends. They appear like people in Chicago that ran you out. And the walls are on fire. Can you please give me a frenzy check of your composure and resolve?
Oh shit. Where can I find composure on my character sheet again? Oh wait, I found it. Ah. That is 2 successes.
Okay, you can barely hold it together, but the walls are on fire and people from Chicago have found you again. You have to get out of here.
Shit, I run out and I am going to fling myself out of the moving train car.
Onto the cart or just out into the desert?
Just whichever is closest, I am out.
The wagon.
Okay, so
The
yes,
wagon.
you do throw yourself from the cart and land on the wagon. The rest of you just see that Ashton his eyes just glazed over and went crazed as he just books it and runs out. And the sheriff turns around to the rest of you and goes, anybody else want to join him?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and shoot her from my elevated position.
She is not visible from the elevated position.
Okay, then never mind.
So I would have shit, kind of like dug the slug out of my shoulder and just like flung it on the ground. Ladies, can we just for a moment, can we hold and just talk for a second? And I'm going to activate awe, and I'm going to I'll just tell you what I'm going to try and do.
Okay.
My attempt is to monologue for a little bit, draw a little of attention. I'm trying to kick Buster with my foot a bit. My hope is that he will start kind of trying to shove this out. I'm like, look, I understand that you feel like we're enemies right now, and you feel like maybe we're trying to take something from you. Probably that's because we are, but what you need to realize is there are much bigger things at stake here. We are all being played. It's not just you, it's not just me, it's not just that dumb fuck that just jumped off the train. There's bigger things here, and I think we all need to take a second as I keep kind of kicking Buster with my foot.
I'm pushing it.
Okay.
Take a second.
I know this score. I'm sending another arm down around the side to grab the other side.
And I'm doing my best to like just eyes like back and forth between whoever's looking at me, and I will legit and I will play it, but I will just keep talking until something happens.
And so once you've been talking for a few minutes, before we get to that, Buster, if you can make me strength and brawl to, and you'll take an extra die because the arm of Araman is helping you pull it.
Sure. Strength, raw, and my grappling.
Yes.
Okay, so. Okay, all right. And what can I hear instead of just pushing it? Can I like kind of push it, but then actually like set my feet against it and kick out and like basically
kind of a mule
kick it
kick?
off of the train? And as I'm doing this, kind of launch myself at this point towards the prince once it's been like successfully dislodged from the train.
Yeah, so trying to mule kick it to jump off of it.
Right. Kind of using it as like the starting block for a runner to thrust off of.
Okay, so since this is becoming a maneuver, we'll make that dex and athletics instead.
Okay. Cool.
They'll add the arm to it.
All
Yeah,
right, cool.
you'll
That
add the extra die for arm.
only changes my roll a little bit. I don't get the grappling anymore, right?
Right.
Okay, that's fine. Let's burn a willpower just to re-roll some dice. 2 successes.
2 successes. Okay, you are able to finish kicking the coffin out, and you lunge and land onto the prince. And Silas, as you have done your monologuing, the sheriff walks up to you and gets both sides of your face and says, "What is it with men that can't shut their mouths?" And Silas, it feels like you're sinking into the ground, as if gravity is taking harder and harder onto you. The weight of the entire world pressing you down into the dirt as if it could bury you alive if it tried hard enough. And you don't have breath, but for some reason you feel like you can't breathe, and it looks like dirt is falling all around you.
Do I have a chance to gasp out like a compel word as I'm like going through this, just to say stop?
You can try.
Okay, that would require me knowing what to do. So I roll charisma plus dominate.
Yep.
Two, three. That is a messy critical 4 successes.
And she also got 4 successes.
Hmm.
So as you say,
Oh, wait. So sorry. So that's critical though. So it's 6 successes, right?
Messy
Yes.
crit. Yeah, so
Yeah,
6
yeah.
success,
6
6 crit
successes.
messy.
okay,
Yeah.
still not quite enough. As you feel that you are calling out this strong compel, of telling her to stop. All that anyone else in this room hears is just as no voice is leaving you, and all you can see is earth stacking around you. And you got to get out of this, or you're going to be buried alive.
And I do the almost the same maneuver as Ashton, except I'm kind of like clawing. I think I fall to my knees, and I'm kind of like just like clawing and scrabbling my way towards the edge of the car. Do I feel like I have to get out of the car? Is that the place I'm trying to get out of?
Yeah, the car feels like you are underground.
I'm just clawing my way, like digging my fingers into the wood of this car bed, just trying to get and just pull myself out, not even caring if I get in the cart or not, just out of the side of the train.
Wagon's still there.
Okay.
Does Silas still look like somebody from Chicago to me, or
now that you are out, it's a bit hazy. So he looks like Silas, but he kind of reminds you of someone from Chicago. The effect is still there. The dementation has still warped your mind, but you can make a little more sense of what is happening.
All right, I'm gonna help pull him onto the cart.
Okay. And so, Buster, as you landed onto the prince, you now have her pinned to the ground. And as you pin her, suddenly there is a cold feeling that hits you right about the ribs and then travels down your side. As that feeling gets more painful and sharper, and it takes you a moment to realize that there is a knife that has been stuck through your side and is slowly dragging down. You are muted.
Gonna use toughness to just half that damage.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, as that would have been 2 aggravated, that will now go down to 1 aggravated.
Okay. I'll be okay.
And Rudin, seeing now that 2 of your coterie mates have panicked and got onto the cart, Buster is currently being gutted like a fish.
Yep,
What are
let's
you
go.
gonna do?
Heal the pull down. I'm going to drop straight down into the center, and as soon as I hit the ground, now at 2 hunger, Oblivion Sight and Stygian Shroud to fill the cart with Oblivion Blackness.
Okay.
So the cart is now is entirely opaque to everybody except for me and anybody that has Oblivion Sight.
Okay.
And everybody has a 3 dice penalty, except for me. And I'm gonna march towards Buster, grab him, and just start dragging him towards the exit of the cart.
Okay.
Can I take a pot shot at the prince before I go? That's the whole reason I came here.
You can't see anything right now. It's that oppressive blackness, like when you're in a cave and you shut off your flashlight. Your eyes almost hurt trying to find some semblance of light or something in this moment. And you can thrash where you think she is, and you can make me a strength and brawl with a 3 dice penalty.
Okay. And there's a penalty even though like we were literally like touching, right? Like I like had my hands on her. Okay.
The Stygian Shroud affects everybody.
Okay. So strength and brawl, add 1, but then I'm gonna lose 3. Do I get anything from feral weapons? Just damage. Okay. Yeah. Okay, we'll see how this goes. If I'm using my feral weapons, does my blood potence give me an additional die? Because that's
Yes.
discipline ability. Okay.
Yes. And your proximity essentially will lower the DC, even though you're taking the penalty for the Stygian Shroud.
Cool. All right. I'm gonna use a willpower to re-roll because I really want to do something good here.
Okay.
Yes. Excellent. Okay. That is 4 with the critical included in there. So my feral weapons give me a +2 modifier to brawl damage that ignores armor.
Fantastic.
And cannot be halved for superficial damage.
All right, and so as the Stygian Shroud hits, you can still feel the prince close to you. So you just lash out with your claws, and through the muffle of Stygian Shroud, the small echo through the oblivion, you hear her cry out in severe pain. But you can't see where she is, you can't see what has happened. There is just pitch blackness.
Now I'll go with Rudin. I'll hop out.
Yeah, gripping onto Buster, I'm going to just soaring leap from the cart, from the cart to the wagon, and that's when I want the arm of Airman that was holding the wagon to let go of the wagon, and the other ones that were attached to the train to grab the gunpowder coffin and just pull it along with the train.
Okay, and so your arms of Araman reach out and grab onto the coffin, pulling it along to where you need it on the train. Do you want it to go inside or along the car?
It's going to go along the side because it doesn't really matter, because I'm about to just pull out my 38 and unload on the coffin as it goes away.
Okay. Given that your 38 can take 6 shots, let's see which one can hit.
Yep. And this is standard black powder, right? So
Yes.
yeah, and it's in a wooden coffin, so this will go.
So
fine.
Dex and firearms.
Yep.
This is going to be terrifying.
So that's 3 successes.
Okay.
Seven successes.
Okay.
4 successes.
Okay.
I just dropped half my dice. Oh. 6 successes.
Okay.
Six critical, so 8. So an 8 critical at that point,
Okay.
and 2 successes.
Okay. And so as you rapid unload your 38 at the coffin, 4 of the shots manage to hit. And in rapid succession of booms, you see just the coffin light up in a massive explosion that, if you all could please make me Dex and Athletics to maintain staying on the cart at such a powerful explosion.
Can we do Dex and Athletics to jump in the air and freeze during the explosion as the credits roll?
Oh, Rudin, you're muted.
I said that's 3 successes, and for no, my arms of airman just got obliterated by the fireball.
Yeah.
6 successes, one of them messy critical.
Okay.
1 success.
Just 1 success, yeah.
Okay. So you all manage to hold it a little bit. Buster and Silas, you guys do drop to the bottom of the cart to maintain, as a blast similar to that would clear out a mine echoes out, taking out the cart completely. And what remains of the train is now on fire and close to you. If you could all please make me a frenzy check of composure and resolve. It's not how we typically do frenzy checks, but I prefer this way. 3. 3 and 3.
3 as well.
3 is a magic number.
Hopefully.
So it's a lot. This is so much, this giant just explosion of fire in front of you. You need to go. You need to get out now.
With no horse around, I'm going to pull Arms of Araman again up from the ground, and I'm going to just pull the cart in the other direction.
I'll
Okay.
hop behind and push.
Okay.
That's 6 successes, and I don't get hungrier on Arms of Araman, so I'm gonna have like 3 extra beefy arms, like pull up and just move along the darkness and just yank it.
And Ashton, what were you saying?
Oh, sorry. I was wondering. Wait, did we get the casket onto the cart?
Yep,
Yes, you did.
yes, you did. As we pull away,
Oh.
let's go. How's that for a Scarlet Coffin?
And so where are you guys headed?
Unless told otherwise, I'm steering us right back to that cave. Or as close as I can get on the terrain.
And I'm just laying on my back in the back of this, just kind of like with my arm limp, like next to you, just like, what the fuck do we do with this now?
My friends, this is when the fun part starts. We have to sell it to the highest bidder.
As long as you're not finding the bidder.
Found the coffin, didn't I?
And the prince along with it.
And you did a wonderful job disposing of the prince. You know, there is a small town that now no longer has a power structure.
I could be convinced.
Small towns are small fish, but we're in a small fucking pond, so maybe small fish is what we need.
I hate to admit it, but Silas, I nominate you as mayor.
I don't want to accept that you're not. Can we get to the cave? We'll figure this out later. I mean, yes, of course, obviously. You don't have to nominate me, obviously, but let's get to the cave.
Sounds good, Mr. Mayor.
God damn it.
And so you guys journey on to the cave. Eventually you get there. It's still a couple hours before sunrise, so you're good. But you arrive and you're able to pull the coffin at least deep enough into the cave that it should be safe.
Can we open it?
Don't let him touch it. Can you? Jeez, Louise, man.
I must first.
Look, are you still weirding out about how pretty it is, or have you managed to move on from that?
Oh, it's drop dead gorgeous. Don't get me wrong.
Don't try to open it.
I haul in one of the tarps from the wagon. I just like throw it over. I'm like, look, let's figure this out tomorrow night.
Well, do you have to throw the top over it? It's the one nice thing in here other than me.
Better
No
safe than-
offense
Yes.
to the present company.
It
He's better
sticks
safe
out
than
like a
sorry.
sore thumb.
Yeah.
I'm in favor of burying it.
Burying it?
Yes. Imagine if someone walked through here.
This is our meal ticket, and you want to bury it?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, yes, we'll keep living in caves for the rest of our lives, going from small town to small town, or we can sell this thing, get a real meal ticket out of the
Oh,
deal.
you can sell it. I just think we should bury it for now.
For now, yes.
Bury it and tell people where to get it. I'm not opposed to this idea. It's
X
more secure
marks
than
the
driving
spot.
around with it.
I'm just thinking that, again, I hate to be a broke record, but I think you're thinking small with this whole selling thing. There's a lot more value to what we've got over here than a simple coin. Let's think a little bigger, why don't we?
Well, I'm not saying selling it for money. I'm saying we could buy a city with this, or our own little stretch of land, our own territory.
Or whatever
Become
we need
big
to
players.
get a little revenge, maybe.
Revenge how?
What you're thinking.
I can think of so many ways.
We can stick to those bastards in Chicago with this.
You don't want to open this.
Let's not open it, but power is power, and we got a mighty load of it right here.
We are the ones who wield the power now.
This can either really profit us, or if we're very uncareful, we can end up like those interlopers on the train.
Oh, no. We will wish that we ended up like them. If things go poorly.
Do you know something we don't?
If they say if what is in the coffin is what they say it is, then it is the sort of thing that makes me check the shadows twice before bed.
Yeah. Actually, you asked about looking inside of it. I'm not opposed.
No, I am opposed.
Oh, you are opposed.
Extraordinarily.
Oh.
Storyteller, remind me, was there a clan like sigil or anything on the coffin indicating?
Nope.
Okay.
You have no idea what's inside.
In fact, Buster, I am personally of the opinion that we bury it like you said, and then we We know where it is, and it is information that others always to have.
True.
Somebody else's problem. I wouldn't be opposed.
I'd be lying if I said the opening idea wasn't growing on me. Might as well know what we're dealing with.
So very curious. Imagine if they made a fancy coffin and put nothing in it.
Could be filled with gunpowder. It's happened before. How do we know they didn't beat us to it? Whole thing was an
That's
elaborate trap.
true.
We know Ashton's been set up from the beginning, so this might all be a ruse.
Does there appear to be a lock on the coffin?
Yes, it is. There are about 8 heavy padlocks, 3 on the long sides, 1 on the top and bottom, and then there are irons stretching around the coffin to hold it shut.
Okay,
And
so
how long is it until sunrise, you said?
At this point, probably another hour. You do need to be getting ready to go to bed soon.
I just want to say, if you are planning on opening this coffin, I am planning on finding another cave.
We
I
can
just
open it tomorrow. At least.
tapped on the lid and just like listened.
Be my guest.
Just gonna tap on the lid.
Nothing.
I don't know what I expected to happen.
There's always tomorrow.
Here's always tomorrow.
Always tomorrow.
I'm gonna start digging.
Very well.
I will find a nice place to rest on my own bones. Thank you very much. And I want to say, I wasn't for sure if we were double-crossed. I said it was possible we were double-crossed. The casket was there.
As were all of your friends.
They weren't my friends. And more importantly, we had to account for the possibility that it was going to be guarded. I mean, it was Methuselah.
No, there's nobody's friends.
I'm just saying, think a little further next time you're picking up hot tips in a bar.
Very well, next time I get a tip that changes all of our fortunes, I'll keep it to myself.
Yeah, I didn't go that far. Let's not get too hasty.
No, I'm clearly useless to you all. I mean, I didn't drop this wonderful lead on our doorstep earlier.
I'll walk over to Buster. They'll be at this for a bit. Let's go dig.
Oh yes, and I'll just shapeshift into a wolf and start digging.
Literally
Okay.
doing the arms again just to move dirt.
And we'll just
Okay.
keep throwing barbs back and forth until
Yep.
the sun comes out.
Yep.
Okay, and so
favors from him when he's prince.
As the argument continues and the digging continues, eventually the sun starts to turn the color of the sky to a deep purple with a little bit of orange to it. And so you all begin to head to bed. Ashton, Rudin, and Buster falling asleep pretty quickly. But Silas, something is calling to you. A soft wailing, muffled and desperate. And before you can resist, your body is moving, walking towards the Scarlet Coffin. As the wailing is getting louder and louder. And then there's a hit from the inside. And another, and another, and another. The pounding inside the coffin becoming more frantic and demanding. And in your mind, your only thought is to do absolutely anything to give your life for who is in this coffin. And that is where we are going to leave this tale. Thank you guys so much for joining us. This has been an extremely fun story to tell. And thank you so much to the players. Thank you to Ian Muller of Gehenna Gaming for running the production of this. Thank you to the Blood Crow Stories for the music for this adventure. Everyone, real quick, let's go in the same order as the beginning. Tell people where they can find you online and what you got going on.
Hey everyone, I'm Mike. You might know me as Mike, I guess, from Twitter, and you can find me on Let's Get Wildmount every Saturday at 1 p.m.
Hell yeah. I am Andrew. I'm at Roll Persuasion on social media. I host the Roll for Persuasion podcast. Check it out, rollpersuasion.com. I'm the head of marketing for Dwarven Forge, so if you need cool terrain, you can come buy our cool terrain, because that helps me pay the bills, so that's cool. But we're also pretty awesome. I also just recently launched, with a couple of friends, a brand new streaming show called Second Star to the Right, that actually features one of Mike's co-stars, Michael Sinclair, is on our show as well. So if you want to see some awesome fun in Neverland, go to www.secondstar.show and check us out. We stream every other Friday, podcast, VODs, all that fun stuff. And yeah, it's a great time. Come and play.
My name is Josh. I am a freelance tabletop game designer. I'm a variety streamer, and I am the assistant director of ambassadors at Jasper's Game Day. It's a nonprofit organization that uses tabletop gaming, like what we've just done, for the cause of suicide prevention. You can find me on pretty much every social media platform at Joshua M. Simons. And on top of that, you can join me on Fridays, where I am on the Rock Punch ATL Twitch channel for Season 2 of Tampo, an adventure in the islands using the Islands of Sina Una supplement.
Hey, I'm Zachary Vaudo. That's my Twitter handle right there. You can find me with Ellie Collins on Tuesdays at ATL by Night. We are back, but I'll let her tell you more about that. I am also on Level Up TTV on Saturdays, though I believe we're on a break right now, if time is correct, for Vancouver Adjacent by Night, but follow their schedule and you'll see me over there playing another vampire, Malkavian. And then I'm doing whatever Gehenna Gaming and Carrion Comfort Studios asks me to do, because I am just a perpetual TTRPG player at this point. You can also hear me on the aforementioned Bloodcrow stories that Ellie just mentioned, in particular in the Western season that this music came from.
And I have been your storyteller, Ellie Collins. I am the storyteller for ATL by Night, a V5 game set in the city of Atlanta. Oh. And our new season, our 5th season, begins May 4th. If you are new to us and you haven't had a chance to catch up with us yet, check out our show Bite Notes, which is available on YouTube. It is a summary show for ATL by Night to help catch you up pretty quickly. And here on Gehenna Gaming, coming up, we have Monster Heart Mondays with Gehenna Academy. We have Cultist Wednesdays for our Cult Divinity Lost game. Thursday is Midnight World. Friday is our Vampire the Masquerade 5th Edition Dark Ages Chronicle. And then Saturday will be part 2 of Legend of the Scarlet Coffin, where we find out how the Camarilla says this all went down. We have an amazing cast for that, featuring Persephoroth, Nikki from Sladies, Emily from ATL by Night, and Ashy the Bard. So we look forward to seeing all of you there. Thank you again so much for joining us. Take care of yourselves and each other. Bye.